We now focus our attention onto boxing and the fight that has been scheduled for June, the rematch, Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev 2. The first fight is one of my favourite fights of all time. Absolutely superb. Two tremendous boxers meeting in a squared circle, and they didn't disappoint. It was just an amazing fight. We have to look at their records, look back. We probably have a good knowledge of them already, but we'll go over it. Andre Ward, 31-0-0, unbeaten, 15 KOs. Wins over Bad Chad Dawson. This is at super middleweight, by the way, 168. Wins over Bad Chad Dawson, Carl the Cobra Froch, Arthur Abraham, Mikhail Kessler, Sakio Bika. Big names, lovely resume. One of the best resumes, Andre Ward, and undefeated. Those victories, though, were at 168. He only recently moved up to light heavyweight, and that's the weight that this fight will be held at, and that's the weight that the first fight was held at, obviously. Sergey Kovalev, 31-1, 30 victories, 26 of those by KO. So he's a KO merchant, Sergey Kovalev. Victories over the durable Isaac Chilemba recently. Twice over Jean Pascal, the awkward yet durable Jean Pascal. Got past Bernard Hopkins. Of course, Hopkins was advanced in age at that stage, but still, it's very difficult to get rid of Bernard Hopkins, and Sergey Kovalev did that. Nathan Cleverly, obviously, sensational fight. This is where Sergey Kovalev announced himself onto the big stage in a big way by running a clinic on Nathan Cleverly and destroying him, really, at a time when Cleverly was at the pinnacle of the division. So that's the history. The first fight, I mean, there's been a lot of controversy, a lot of different views. Some people had it for Kovalev, some people had it for Ward. Ward obviously got the points victory. When I watched it the first time, bearing in mind I'd bet on Ward, I thought Kovalev might have nicked it. That was my first reaction. But obviously I had to look at the fight again, where it was so close. Obviously the fact that Ward got stronger as the fight went on. He had the knockdown early on, but came back. I had to review it again. After I reviewed it closely and actually scored it, I had it for Ward. Ward, just nicking it. In a boxing purist sense. A lot of people went for Kovalev because he was more entertaining. His fighting was more entertaining. Kovalev is the more entertaining fighter. He's more heavy-handed. He's more aggressive. He looks for the stoppage. He's got a better KO percentage by a long way. He's got more or less... I mean, they've got a similar amount of wins, haven't they? Ward 31, Kovalev 30. But look at Kovalev's percentage of KOs. 26 KOs. Ward with 15 KOs. So Kovalev's more entertaining. He's more aggressive. He was looking for the stoppage. He had the knockdown. So I can understand why, people wanted... Maybe, I don't know, wanted to side with Kovalev, or maybe thought because he had him down, he had Ward down, he might have won it. But when you look at it in a purely boxing sense and look at the points that were scored throughout the fight, I think Ward just nicked it. Ward was down and then recovered. One of my favourite parts of the fight, of any fight, was when Ward went down. He didn't make a drama about it. He smiled, which I thought was strange at the time, but it was just... It gives you an idea of the temperament and the mentality of Ward. He was in a situation of trauma. He was in a situation where he was under pressure, and rather than crying about it or, looking embarrassed because he'd never been down before, so it was new to him on the big stage, he smiled. And when they interviewed him afterwards, he said the reason he smiled was because it was basically an acknowledgement that the fight had begun. He knew he was in the biggest fight of his career. He knew it was going to be hard, and once he was down, that's when he had to smile and say, the fight started. He didn't look at it as a disaster. He didn't look at it as though he'd lost the fight. He had a smile, dusted himself off, and came back with composure. And he used all his experience and all his in-ring nous. Ward is known for being a spoiler. A lot of people don't like his style. Ward is known for being a boxer puncher rather than a puncher, and he put on an absolute masterclass after that knockdown. I'm not saying Kovalev wasn't making it competitive. He was chasing him down. Kovalev made the fight because he was so aggressive. But that's his style. Ward is never going to be hunting anyone down. Ward is a tactician, good with the counter punches, good with slipping punches and then dropping one of his own in, working the jab. I think Kovalev did tremendously well. Tremendous effort. But I think Ward just nicked it. What's going to happen on this occasion? Well, that's anybody's guess. the easy thing to say is to say it's going to go a similar way. And Ward is, we always like to side with the boxer puncher rather than the puncher. The old adage we always lean on: a good boxer beats a good puncher. Not that Kovalev isn't a good boxer; he's underrated in that regard. A lot of people would straight away say Ward is the better boxer. I don't know about that. Kovalev is a tremendous boxer, tremendous movement, um, tremendous offense, power. Footwork is good. I like Kovalev's footwork. And of the fighters that exert pressure and hunt down their opposition, GGG comes into that sort of a category. I think Kovalev is the best. I'd even put him ahead of GGG because he also implements the jab very well. He probably uses the jab better than GGG. One problem we had with Kovalev in this Ward fight, the first one, was that towards the end of the fight, he wasn't really cutting off the ring. He was just following Ward about. And even Roy Jones Jr. pointed that out in the commentary box for HBO. He was getting tired, and this actually helped Ward accumulate those points and bank those rounds early on after the early knockdown. I've got to say, I mean, what odds have we got on this? There's early odds. These aren't going to reflect the odds that go off nearer the time of the fight, but just odds that are available now. We've got 8 to 11, 1.72 on Andre Ward. We've got the draw 20 to 1. Sergey Kovalev 5 to 4. That's 2.25 in decimals. Those prices are reasonable. My pricing of the fight would be Ward. I would have Ward the favourite. Somewhere around 1.75, 3 to 4. They've got it at 1.72, not far off. Kovalev, yeah, 5 to 4, somewhere around that, maybe a bit less. So I think the prices are reasonable. In terms of a betting perspective, I would be looking towards Ward again. And that's not to say Kovalev is not just going to come out. We've got to think about Kovalev's motivation here. He fought for this rematch. There was talk of Ward retiring. Ward wasn't forthcoming about taking the fight. Kathy Duva was talking about how she's chasing the fight on behalf of Sergey Kovalev, wanting that rematch. And it's only recently that the wheels got going. Obviously, the money was sorted. I mean, there was an argument for Ward to walk away. He'd had a big win there. He's unbeaten. He had that layoff in the recently, in the last couple of years. He had a layoff, didn't he? He had some promotional issues, something to do with his promoters, some court case. I don't know the full details, but he was out. Then he came back, went up to light heavyweight, had a few warm-up fights: Sullivan Barrera, Alexander Brand, a few others. Paul Smith got through those, and then this fight happened with Sergey Kovalev, the big super fight. I've got to say, I can see it going a similar type of way. Ward is going to be more cautious this time. He was down against Kovalev. He knows he can beat him. Virgil Hunter is a huge part of this whole equation. Hunter, who in the corner gave Ward so much support and help. I mean, they've got a sort of father-son relationship going on there. Or I don't think Virgil would like me saying that. Maybe uncle-nephew relationship. Let's go for to reduce the age gap. But Hunter is so important. Tremendous trainer. Tremendous stable Hunter. Trained, the likes of Amir Khan. Ward is his signature fighter. And as a result, they have a very strong relationship. I think that comes into it again. Virgil Hunter is very emotionally invested in the rematch, as he was the first fight. And I think there's an edge there. Sergey Kovalev, I don't know if he's going to have the same trainer as he did last time, Jackson. I think Jackson did pretty well with him. The strategy was reasonable. I also noticed that they did work on preventing Ward from clinching and holding and making it ugly. Kovalev was having none of that. He's a big man anyway, but he wasn't allowing Ward to clinch him and hold him and, spoil his work, spoil his offense. So Jackson did well in that regard. I have heard some things about Kovalev possibly using another trainer. But Kovalev's style is pretty ingrained. He chases you down. He's got the big punches. He's a very confident man, which helps. There's no doubt. I don't get the idea that there's any doubts in Kovalev's mind. That's another thing. He won't have any baggage at all from the first fight. He will have thought that he won it. He will have thought he can win this. And that mentality makes him hugely dangerous. And so if you hear anyone saying, I'm going for Sergey Kovalev, I can't really dissuade them. It's pick'em. It really is pick'em, and it's how you see the fight going. Is it going to go the same as it went the first way? Is Kovalev going to be the aggressor this time? Fired by revenge, fired by the fact that was the first defeat on his professional record, fired by the fact that he felt he was hard done by the judges, that he'd been robbed. So That can happen. Kovalev could just come out and start. I hope he doesn't come out and start swinging. But he could be aggressive. Obviously, Kovalev's a better boxer than that to come out swinging. But he might come out aggressively. Using his boxing skills, integrating that in, and give Ward a hard time early on. It might be an idea to get Ward out of there, because what happens is, as the fight goes on, he tends to just get stronger. His whole thing is tactics. His whole thing is nous. A little bit of spoiling. Forming the game plan behind the jab. And what he's good at is looking at his opponent and working out where the weaknesses are. He's a very intelligent man, Andre Ward. His temperament's amazing for boxing. He's calm. He has an extra second or two in the ring than other fighters. He's looking at the other fighter, and he's subconsciously using his experience to work out what strategies his opponent is using and employing, and how he can counter that. So he really is an in-ring technician. Maybe Kovalev's best bet is to just get him out of there. If he can just turn the heat on. He could have done that in the first fight. Ward did well, but I'll give Kovalev credit. He went for him. But Ward tied up, ducked, took a few shots clean, showed a good chin. Both of these fighters have got a good chin, and got through it. I think it's going to go a similar sort of way. I think if Kovalev wins, he wins by knockout or TKO. And on the method of decision, if we look at those, you've got, if Kovalev points is 5-2 at the moment, Kovalev TKO KO 4-1. I mean, if I'm going to bet on Kovalev, I would take the 4-1 on the KO. If it goes to points, I'm with Ward. I think Ward will come through. He's got the skills. He's got the experience. He's got, Kovalev has good boxing skills, but I think Ward is one. Possibly, he could be up there with the best boxers of all time, technique-wise. So, if I'm going for a Ward victory, I'm going for points at 5-6. The bookies know that a Ward KO is pretty unlikely. You can get 12-1 on that. But if you look at the situation on the odds, it's 8-11 for a Ward win and 5-6 for Ward on points. You might as well just stick with the straight Ward win. There's not enough value. There's not much of a boost on going for the points, so I'd probably just stick with Andre Ward at 1.72, 8-11. I lean at this stage. There's a lot of different ways this fight can go, and it's going to be absolutely sensational. The build-up's going to be superb. We look forward to the press conferences. We look forward to hearing about Sergey Kovalev's training arrangements, who his trainer's going to be, what's going to happen there. We look forward to hearing Virgil Hunter's comments on the fight. It's going to be massive. Hugely excited. Likely to do another video on it closer to the time. But for the time being, Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev 2, the rematch. My lean at this stage is Andre Ward at 8-11, 1.72.